All right, y'all. So, had the right story, had the wrong page. Okay, so I found it. Right, I found it. So, as I was saying before, right, some of y'all may have been seeing 1212 too, a lot. 1212. Okay, that's a side note. Seen it right there. Um, so the showdown at Baal, right? A ball, okay, with Elijah against Jezebel's prophets, right? False prophets, right? And the feats that Elijah did, right? And remember how I said it's a foreshadowing to today and what we would do, right? And what God will use us to do, right? Just like he used Elijah to lay down Jezebel's prophets, right? Who he sent, she sent Jezebel and Ahab, who they sent by the thousands, right? So check this out. First Kings 18 and 36, right? I'm gonna stop at 46. It's a little bit, but follow me, right? Follow me. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and what I have done all these things at thy word, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, the Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is the God. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. Right? Beloved, what you did, what you have accomplished is no different. Right? The enemy sent all these false prophets of Ahab and Jezebel, right? Spiritually, sent them to you in droves, right? It's just you. It's just you, right? You and God. Sent them to you in droves, right? Because they thought numbers were better. They thought their numbers were stronger, right? It reminds me of David and Goliath, right? It was just God and David. David was a little boy when he slew Goliath with a slingshot, right? This is the same thing that happened. Remember? A foreshadowing, right? That was a foreshadowing. What was it? Did that happen after? I believe this happened first. Yeah, because this is Solomon. Solomon was, I don't know, one of them, right? But anyway, the same thing that happened to Elijah, right, happened to us, right? Happened to David, right? And so on. Okay? They sent people by the droves, okay, to try to overpower you, okay, to try to what's the word? Usurp you, basically, right? 432 on the timer. And God used you to handle every last one of them, right? And at that, didn't let them escape after either, right? Remember, God would 444 on the timer. Remember, God would tell whether it was David, Solomon, or whoever, right? Remember what God would tell them not to let their enemies escape, right? God would tell them to slew all of their enemies, right? Not leaving one. Sometimes even the women, the children, the animals, right? And that was so that, you know, none of them could rise up later on at a later date to try to overthrow God's people again, right? So God made them destroy each and every last person down to the animal, right? That belonged to them, that they were no more, right? There's stories in the Bible about people who their lineages were cut off, right? Because they were destroyed. There was no more of them to carry on, right? And another thing that you did, right? You outlasted every last person. Beloved, you outlasted every last person who came for you, right? And the second part I'm about to read, this is Elijah doing the same thing, right? Let me read it. Let me read it before I say it. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. Somebody's about to be blessed as well, okay? Y'all just heard that. The sound of an abundance of rain. So Ahab went up to eat and to drink, and Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees, and said to his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And he said, go again 7 times. And it came to pass, at the 7th time, that he said, behold, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea like a man's hand, right? The size of a man's fist. And he said, go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot, and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile, that the heaven was black with the clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. This part. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. And Ahab told Jezreel all that Elijah had done, and with all how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezreel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And I'll stop there because we know the ending to that, right? But God put his hand on Elijah, right? He told Ahab to get on his chariot and take off, right? God put his hand on Elijah, and Elijah took off on foot. Elijah took off on foot. Think about that. Ahab was on a chariot with horses pulling him. And God touched Elijah, and Elijah ran on foot. On foot. Let's not count. I mean, let's not. We can't find the word here, but I can't find the word. But Elijah had a head start. I mean, not Elijah. Ahab. Excuse me. Ahab had a head start, right? And Elijah still beat him. He beat him. Just like Elijah. And that was a supernatural feat, right? The same is with you. Beloved, people on the outside, you may not have noticed this yourself, but people on the outside looking in, they saw this supernatural feat that happened with you and with these people coming after you. They saw it, right? You may not have been able to experience it like they have because they're on the outside looking in, right? Just like Elijah, right? And the prophets of Baal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has witnessed this. There's no mistake that God is with you. None at all. You get what I'm saying? There's no mistake that God is with you. 10-10 on the timer. None. You've done things that man has never seen before. You've survived things that man in this day and age has never seen before. Did you get what I'm saying? Right? So, y'all heard me say the sound of the abundance of rain, right? So after going through all of this, right? After allowing God to use you, right? To make an example of some people, you're being blessed. Okay? You are being blessed. Like I said yesterday, you're in the middle of it. And those of you that are, right, that are on this timeline, you're in the middle of it, you can feel it. You can see it. God's making it evident to you. My phone just flashed. Confirmation. God's making it evident to you and to those who are watching you. Confirmation again. Right? He's making it evident to you and to those who are watching you, beloved. Right? You can take a rest. You can take a bow. Right? Because your job is done. Right? I mean, it's not done. You still got work to do, right? But as for this season that has just passed, as for everything that you just came through, right? And as for as long as it took, right? As it tarried, you're being blessed, beloved. And not just with some small blessing. God is about to make your cup run over. Over. Meaning it's not going to end. Meaning you'll be able, people who are with you, right, who are part of your team are going to eat as well. You're going to eat, and everybody connected to you is going to eat. Is going to eat, okay? So be expecting. Be expectant. All right? I'm still a little, I got a little wake up a little bit. But those of y'all who know that story, you know that story. You know that story. And you know how hard Elijah went for God, right? Even down to where he was afraid when Jezebel, even after he defeated all these prophets, right? He still ran from Jezebel because Jezebel said she was going to kill him, right? Got in his head. And I'm sure she was working with some witchcraft as well, right? For him to be afraid and run from her after he defeated all these prophets. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to show, you know, guard your crown, guard your mind, right? Because the enemy, that's what he uses to overthrow you, right? Your mind, right? It'll take something so small and have you repetitively thinking over it, thinking that, oh, what if? There is no what ifs. There's no what ifs. God is efficient. There's no what ifs. You get what I'm saying? None. All right? So be confident, all right, in who you are and who God is to you, right? Be confident, okay? Because that's another thing that's tied to your power, right? Your confidence, right? And like I said the other day, your authenticity, right? All these things work together for your good, all right? All right, I love y'all, beloved. I hope that wasn't too much all over the place. All right, I'll holla at y'all later. Peace.